Villagers, this is Arnie. It's Pepper Tree Villa, and it's time for PTV3D, or the Daily Dose of Disney on Pepper Tree Villa. How are you doing? It is good to see everyone. I hope you're all having a good day. It's Monday, which is always somewhat of a drag sometimes. Well, always, sometimes. Yeah, sometimes it's a drag. Something that we can record. I need to find something that we can record. I know. Okay, Doug, I'm missing something there. I came in part of the conversation. So sorry. It's February 24th. It is 305 days until Christmas. Hello, Jonathan Chong, Mike Wheeler. Okay, Doug, thank you. Wow. Candy Mom, Cynthia, always good to see you. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. It is time for the Daily Dose. There are several things I need to cover through here today, so let's go ahead and get started. February 24th, 1955. Hello, Lena. Always good to see you too. February 24th, 1955. Now, this is, again, a birth, and I'm mentioning this one because it was actually rather significant. And it's also interesting that something else happened later on associated with this particular person. In 1955, Steve Jobs was born on this day. Of course, he became the co-founder and CEO of Apple Computer, which then became Apple eventually. Hello, Leanne. Tracy, hello, good to see you. He was credited as the executive producer of the film Toy Story, and he went on to become a member of the board of directors and actually the single largest shareholder of the Walt Disney Company. They looked at him as a great visionary. Today I'm very delicate, mental and physically today. Okay, Doug, we will talk. So Steve Jobs was known as a visionary. Someone actually said that he's the closest thing to Walt Disney as Walt Disney. Oh, hello, Todd. I hope not everyone's having trouble with the feed. I'm sorry that you're having trouble with the feed, though, Todd. So sorry. Glitter. Yep, Macintosh. So anyway, Bob Iger did seek advice after him at being the largest shareholder, that kind of thing. So yeah, Steve Jobs played a significant role in the history of the Disney Company. So I thought it was appropriate that I mention him today. Steve Jobs, born on this day in 1955. In 1960, the Walt Disney Productions make No Bake Cookies. Huh. Not a bad idea, Richard. Welcome to the stream, Richard. So on this day, Disney released a film called Kidnapped. It starred Peter Finch, Peter O'Toole, James MacArthur. Now, the film Kidnapped was based on a novel by the author Robert Louis Stevenson's second novel used as an idea for a film, the first one being Treasure Island in 1950. The thing is that the movie was directed by a guy named Robert Stevenson. You wouldn't think anything of it, except for one thing. He really was a descendant of the author of the book, Robert Louis Stevenson. So Robert Stevenson, the director, was related to Robert Louis Stevenson, the author. And he directed the film Kidnapped, which was written. Oh my goodness. Richard, that does sound good. I'm starting to get a craving for some cookies. Maybe I'll have to do something about that. 1985, at Magic Kingdom, the Disney Clothiers shop opens on Main Street. Now, of course, there's also Disney Clothiers at Disneyland. One of our favorite shops to go into. They always have some great things to try on, great clothing. The PTV Test Kitchen. I like it, Todd. I like that. February 24th, 1997. Now, I mentioned Steve Jobs was the largest shareholder. It was on this day that it was announced, happened to be his 42nd birthday. An agreement between Pixar and Disney was announced that they would be jointly producing 5 films over the next 10 years. So between 1997 and 2007. And the first film in that series of 5 was A Bug's Life that was released. So, yeah, lots of movies coming out. 2003, they reported this at Walt Disney World on this day, and that's because after September 11th, a lot of booths went up for inspecting bags. The bag search, we don't think anything of it. It's a normal thing of you go to a Disney park, you automatically get in line so that you can have your bag searched. It's just normal anymore. But almost 20 years ago, that was not the norm. And so they were being very careful with what they were letting into the park. But on this day in 2003, they announced that it would become probably something that would continue on for a long time as they began to build a more permanent bag check area for the Magic Kingdom. And so they have more permanent places now at all 4 parks. At Disneyland, it works a little differently. They have, hello, Mr. Fulton Emraz, good to see you. Phantasmic Chronicles, Tony, great to see you. Thank you. Peanut butter pie. Project, good to see you. And Noah, thank you for joining as well. Oh my goodness, I'm really starting to get hungry for, my sweet tooth is really, oh goodness, cookies. So yeah, at Disneyland, it works a little differently. There are, let's see, 1, 2, let me think about this. There are 2 spots in downtown Disney, a 3rd spot over at the monorail. No, once you're in the monorail, you're already in the area. Richard, that's okay. Cookies, always a good thing. In fact, we do have some videos coming up where we will be making cookies. So I do promise that we will be making cookies in the future and sharing recipes, but that'll come. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 locations for, I believe, for security to get into Disneyland. Once at the Disneyland Resort, you do not have to go through security again. There are just 2 parks. Once you're through the security area, you can go to both parks without having to get back in line to get checked again because both parks are just 300 feet away from each other. Makes it a lot easier. 2008, on this day, well, let me back up a bit. In 2007, June 29th to be exact, a movie was released in the theater called Ratatouille. It was the film from Pixar that year. 2007. I remember that day specifically because, it's ironic. Steve Jobs was mentioned today. Doug and I bought our first iPhones on June 29th, 2007, the day that Ratatouille was released in the movie theater. I absolutely love the movie. It's one of our favorite films. It's definitely, it's the first film that we bought on Blu-ray. So it's a significant film for us. You need Cheez-Its for tonight's stream. I don't have any Cheez-Its right now. Might be able to get a Diet Coke, though. So, yeah. Anyway, Pixar released Ratatouille on June 29th, 2007. And on this day in 2008, Brad Bird got up on the stage at the Academy Awards because Ratatouille had received the award for Best Animated Feature at the 80th Academy Awards ceremony. Yeah, Ratatouille really did deserve that. 2011, guests were on the Disney Dream on this day in Florida, and they actually caught a glimpse of the Space Shuttle Discovery blasting off at the Kennedy Space Center at Cape Canaveral. I think that's pretty darn cool. I would love to see something like that happen. If I were on a cruise, I think that would be just absolutely amazing. T. Marie Photography, I had not seen you join the stream. Thank you for being here. Okay, so also in 2011, this one's pretty cool because I love these places. On this day, Disneyland Resort announced that they were adding 2 eating locations at the Disneyland Resort. Not in the parks, these both were at the Disneyland Hotel. Tongaroa Terrace and Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar were announced that they would be opening. I was so happy to hear that. It's one of our favorite places to go on the resort. We love Trader Sam's. Absolutely love it. So much fun. great cocktails, great atmosphere, just a lot of fun. Yeah, it did. It did replace that bar. PTV the Musical will sweep the Tonys next year. I don't know about that, Todd. We still have to go out on the road and test it in different markets first before that happens. Maybe in 2022. 2016. The Reedy Creek Improvement District added $4 million to their budget for improving transportation around Disney Springs. That was announced on this day in 2016. It was already a $360 million budget. Now, here's the interesting thing. Disney is the primary taxpayer for the Reedy Creek Improvement District. There is a whole thing about how the property is handled at Walt Disney World. They are their own entity. So that's a big deal. Huge deal. 2 cities, Bay Lake, Lake Buena Vista, and the Reedy Creek Improvement District. It's a very complicated situation. In fact, a lot of people think Celebration, Florida, and Golden Oak are part of Walt Disney World. They are not. Those grounds that those properties are built on were de-annexed from the Walt Disney World property, and they are their own cities. I would like to go visit. I know there are several people here in our community that have visited before. In fact, I know Richard had lived there at one time, the Orlando guy. So he's got some interesting stories about Celebration. We'll have to get him to talk about those sometime. I would love a tour of Celebration, Richard. That would be awesome. Just absolutely fantastic. Okay, let me go ahead and thank the moderators. There are plenty of you there with a blue wrench next to your name. It means the world to me that you're there to help me out. Thank you so much. There's one right there. Mike, thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate that. Oh, salads showed up. Salad. I'm hungry. You know, all this talk of cookies and salad, I'm just really in the mood for something to eat now. Hello, Charlie. Thank you for being here. So yes, moderators, thank you so much for what you do and for my support channels. We have 2 Real Geeks, D&G Explorers, the Orlando guy, of course. Thank you so much. We also have Rob Fuzz and more Sunshine Please. Noah, thank you for joining. It's good to see you. Oh, yep. Richard, yep. Check out his latest video. It dropped as I'm talking. Oh, thank you, Myers and the Mouse. Thank you for being here. But yeah, for my support channels there, yes, definitely. Orlando guy, he dropped a video today, last night rather. Gosh, it is a beautiful about the Lou Gardens in Orlando. Just stunning video, beautifully done. So tonight on the Disney YouTube network, action's going to get started right away at 7 p.m. So in just a little under an hour, about 45 minutes or so, Practically Perfect Park Hopping is starting with the Magical Monday Madness. So they'll be there doing that. Followed by at 8 p.m., we have Steve's World, of course. We also have potentially Samantha Lowe. Samantha Lowe is at the property today in Florida. She told me today that she might be streaming Fantasmic at 8 p.m. So be watching for that. If you're not subscribed to Samantha, go check her out. She's been posting a lot of videos. She's got two that she did today. She's going to drop another one tomorrow. And then at 9 p.m. we have Meg of Mickey's Magic. She'll be actually doing another makeup demo with Steve of Steve's World. At 9:30, 2 Real Geeks. She'll be there. Tina, thank you for joining. Great to see you. So the 2 Real Geeks will be on at 9:30 Eastern. They're going to be, of course, doing their weekly geeky entertainment wrap-up. I don't know if there's a specific theme tonight. They've talked about specific themes before during the entertainment wrap-up, but tonight, 9:30, check out 2 Real Geeks. And then finally, at 10 p.m., you'll want to definitely stick around on our channel. PTV Live, we are going to be talking about Disney Around the Bay. What does that mean? Well, I'll explain a little bit more in detail once the show starts, but just in a nutshell, if you happen to come to the San Francisco Bay Area, there are plenty of locations around that are Disney related. How is that possible when it's not Disneyland or Walt Disney World or the Disney Company in Burbank? Well, there's lots of inspiration, lots of locations around the Bay that are either Disney inspired or Disney got inspiration from those locations, or people happen to live here. You know, there are relatives of Walt Disney that live here in the Bay Area. And we'll talk about that today during PTV Live. So there's a lot there. Believe me, a lot. It was kind of hard as we were going through the list, and we just kept thinking of things like, wow, I cannot believe how much there is. So that's going to be on PTV Live tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. So I better get back to my desk. I've got some minutes that I need to finish off for a meeting. Headed off to Publix for no-bake cookies and Cheez-Its. Don't forget, make sure. Oh, good, you've got the Diet Coke in the fridge already, Richard. That is good. Thank you, everyone, for being here for this edition of the Daily Dose of Disney. I'll be back tomorrow at the same time, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, for another edition of the Daily Dose of Disney. In the meantime, everyone, we'll see you on YouTube tonight. Have a magical evening, and have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. Bye, everyone.